Happy New Year! Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully and happy 2024. Even though we've already seen Birth by Sleep part several days into 2024, but this is the first one I'm recording, so fuck it, here we go. Anyway, welcome back to Birth by Sleep. It is time for Terra's story, much to the cheer of Sir Isaac Fortesque, because God knowing he's been waiting for this for quite some time, and here we go! The final one of our trio, who was meant to be the first one that we actually see story-wise, but you know what, I figured it's best keeping him off till now, because, I mean, unlike Aqua's story, which was very much just sort of cleaning up the messes of those naughty boys, Terra's story, on the other hand, deals a little bit more directly with the threats. In this case, that creepy, yes boy, creepy Xehanort looking at little boys. As well as Terra's fall from grace, which, I mean, if you could just take a look at the guy's profile, sure already begin to remind you about, certain people without hearts. A nobody, if you will. And now we have the Mark Hamill of Mastery. Oh god, I'm gonna struggle to find things to say at this point, so,
Not a test of wills, but a test of heart. Both of you may prevail, or neither. But I am sure our guest, Master Xehanort, did not travel all this way to see our youngest prospects in years fall short of the mark.
Sorry, I'm just like gonna staying silent with that, because I am legitimately curious, but, well, okay. I guess, I mean, it's technically been decades since, you know, Ericus and Xehanort were lost in, again, to put it simply, Keyblade School, so I guess I can kind of give it leeway for, you know, them being the youngest prospects in years, but at the same time, though, it's, yeah, it's quite odd, really. Anyway, it's a good thing nobody saw Xehanort doing any of that shit, because, you know, he probably would have been like, he probably would have been all like, Xehanort, you've been using the darkness, you betrayed me again. It's like, sorry, Ericus, I just can't help myself. It feels good to be gangster, boy. And the darkness helps me channel that inner gangster. You feel, dog? Yeah, it's been a while since I did that Xehanort voice, and I probably have to work on it a bit more.
He can take care of himself. He's been out there training just as hard as us.
Yeah. Stay sharp.
No, then, you gotta go to your bedroom, even though, again, this is kind of an unforeseen thing, and he could easily be of help here. Also, he's much older than you, Aqua. Know your place, bitch. But anyway, this is pretty much an indication of how Terra handles in terms of gameplay strengths. Unlike Aqua, who's nimble and lithe, and, you know, is very much all about the magic, Ventus, who's all about speed, yeah, Terra is about power. And of course, as we all know, speed and power can solve many things. Although, yeah, I'm kind of playing Terra as a bit ADD here, as I'm pretty much just sort of exploring around this main hub area for the land of departure. Yeah, also, Xehanort and Ericus have suddenly disappeared, which is odd. I mean, would it really have... Well, I mean, again, PSP, so I guess I couldn't handle having too many characters on here at once, at least for the hardware, but... I don't know, what strikes me as a little bit odd that they couldn't at least have Ericus and Xehanort standing off in like a little shielded area. Oh well, I mean again, you do get to explore this little plaza, but not really much else of the land of departure, which is a bit of a shame. I'd like to say that you get to see a little bit more in Kingdom Hearts 3, but all you literally see is the hallway, actually right down below there, so... Yeah, you don't get to see much more of it in the series. Maybe Kingdom Hearts 4, possibly Missing Link, if that does delve into the... Actually, no, I think Missing Link is set a little bit before that. Oh, well then again, it's possible we could see the Master of the Castle before Ericus, so... yeah. Oh no, wait, no, that would have previously belonged to Boulder, actually, so, nah. Never mind, I'm just, thinking about Kingdom Hearts the ends of days past. Anyway, this is the command gauge style Motron, whatever.
But one must keep a still heart even in the most trying of circumstances.
Even though darkness should not exist in this land.
One I chose to let unfold.
Because you're stupid.
Which brings us to your next trial.
Your next trial is... the dance-off.
Now, Terra and Aqua, the two of you will face each other in combat. Remember, there are no winners.
But to be more accurate, there is only one winner. And since we've seen this cutscene 3 times already, we already know who it's gonna be, although... It's a... I mean, to kind of cut out, like, joking for a little bit, yeah, it's not that Aqua's technically more skilled than Terra, It's just that she has the temperament of a Keyblade Master, and again, as you're going to be seeing right here, what they judge that on is the ability to control darkness, which, as you can see, it came from Terra, and Xehanort's just all like, "Oh, yes! That boy is using the darkness. Yes, with a fine body."
We have deliberated and reached a decision.
Will we deliberated, and that Terra's so hot? Oh my god, even the girls want him.
Only Aqua has
But yeah, on a serious note though, again, it's, to be a little bit more technical here, Terra does have pretty much all the same skills as Aqua, you know, albeit a few differences in their varying strengths. Terra, power, Keyblade focused attacks obviously, whereas Aqua's more magic based. So again, apart from the special knowledge that Aqua gains upon getting the title of Keyblade Master, and something that we will be seeing in the final story, Terra is, again, very well suited to basic Keyblade combat and, you know, a lot of the stuff that Aqua can easily do. It's just that, again, according to Eriquis' standards, because there are multiple ways to take the Mark of Mastery, a brief visage of which we actually saw with Yensid and Mickey much earlier in the game, yeah, there are different methods, and Eriquis is just keeping the darkness sufficiently in check. I mean, again, I suppose in the years since they did kind of alter the parameters, more of which you'll be seeing when we commentate over Dream Drop Distance, but yeah, it's quite curious to see how it was handled back in the day, because even in the Dark Road era, you know, the Mark of Mastery was handled a wee bit differently. And of course there's Vanitas, who's just bumbling about doing a thing. Anyway, new cutscenes ahoy, so I can finally shut the fuck up.
There's darkness within me. So what does that matter? I know I'm strong enough to hold it back.
Yes, you are indeed strong. The darkness is nothing to fear.
Master Xehanort.
And yet, how frustrating that Eriquis refutes its power. Why, you could train with him forever, and still, you'd never be a master in his eyes.
But why? Help me understand, Master Xehanort. What is it that I failed to learn?
You're fine as you are. Darkness cannot be destroyed. It can only be channeled.
Yes. Thank you, Master.
That boy has a nice ass. Yeah, thank God Terra didn't see that, otherwise that might have shot your plane completely in the arse. Hey, maybe I ought to look backwards. Nah, too much effort. But yeah, to sort of talk about Master Xehanort for a second, we didn't really get to see too much of him in the previous stories, but here's where Xehanort gets a more specific focus in that whole Revenge of the Sith parallel, where again, you could easily just see Xehanort as, you know, Darth Sidious, and Terra being Anakin, which I don't think is quite the same sort of values. I mean, again, there are similarities to be certain, and I'm sure Nomura was definitely thinking that in mind as he was writing the script. Well, that and his team of writers, an important distinction to make. But yeah, unlike Anakin, who was a lot more headstrong, you know, had delusions of grandeur, being, I'm gonna be the most powerful Jedi ever, Obi-Wan is holding me back. Again, Terra isn't quite as self-centered as that. He does have his moments of headstrong, but for him it's more... Well, again, his character arc is a little bit more complicated than I initially thought, because, and we'll be seeing examples of this as we go on throughout the commentary, but again, the general fandom likes to sort of picture Terra, at least in Birth by Sleep, as being, well, naive, stupid, and basically falling for very obviously evil people, but at the same time, though, I don't think it's quite as cut and dry as it may seem, which, it does give his story a little bit more pull to it, but at the same time there are also a bit of themes and conflated interests, because the whole idea that, again, you can't keep your darkness in check. What do we understand about darkness at this point from, you know, the various Disney characters who have fallen to it, and, you know, probably the biggest example being his parallel in Riku. It's that, again, darkness usually comes from a lot of things, really. Again, it comes from anger, jealousy, hatred, a lot of negative emotions that sort of tie into the whole light and darkness being synonymous with the Force kind of thing. Except in Terra's case, again, and something that the characters say and what actually happens on screen is where some of my issues with Terra's story do begin to come up, because again, they say that Terra's afraid of losing, or that, you know, he gives into the darkness and, you know, he has this anger within him. The thing of it is, though, that does sort of conflate with what we see on screen, with him being a lot more uncertain about his abilities, and whether or not he can live up to the, you know, to the mantle of Keyblade Master and actually achieve what he's been wanting to do for so long. Because again, as Terra's story will point out, and even as the beginning of the game established, again, all three of these Keyblade students of Eriquus, they wanted to make Keyblade Master, they want to make their master proud, slash father figure. And, yeah, it's... I don't know, that's pretty much where Terra's story is meant to be going. It's... again, the story means to imply that Terra's entire reason for falling is because, you know, he just wants to be a Keyblade Master, and that's that, you know, selfish goals and trying to get there with, you know, the quicker, what's the word again? The path of least resistance, that's it, by using darkness in order to get where he wants, but that isn't exactly his thing, because again, he is wary of the darkness, and Xehanort does try and tempt him down that path, but where Terra falls flat is that, again, he's got a lot of naivety, and again, as I kind of mentioned in Aqua and Ventus' story, they don't really have a lot of social experience, which again, I don't know whether or not that was meant to be a subtextual theme, or if it was just unintentional as a result of, you know, the very flowery Jedi-speak sort of writing that this game is plagued with. Again, a lot of these are examples that you're going to be seeing as we go on in the commentary, but in the meantime though, well, I mean, we pretty much have our friends at their strongest point. Again, Terra's been given a second chance to make up for his screw-up at the Mark of Mastery. You do see that Eriquus obviously does care for his students, but at the same time he does also gaslight them with, "Oh, Terra, you've fallen to darkness. You know, you're gonna make your dad disappointed," and God knowing when you make your dad disappointed, makes you want to jump off the roof and drink heavily. That's my darkness. Alcohol. Wow, that hit a bit too close to home. But anyway, yeah, as Xehanort uses a corridor of darkness, I guess Keyblade wielders can open the lanes between, or... But I mean, as you're also going to be seeing, they can also, I guess, open corridors of light? Or maybe there's just a way in which they can travel with their Keyblade gliders. I'm going to assume the latter, because that's kind of what we see in the gameplay and immediately proceeding from this cutscene, but... I don't know, it is interesting, and to kind of talk about the Dark Corridor, which was the portal thing that you see Xehanort and subsequently Organization 13 use in the later games. Yeah, it's actually gets a really dark reprieve in Kingdom Hearts Dark Road, which is... I mean, to kind of talk about what Dark Road is, I might have mentioned it before, but yeah, that's basically the Eriquus and Xehanort origin story, which, I'm kind of wondering though, should I cover that before Dream Drop Distance or before Kingdom Hearts 3? I might do, but then again, it's probably going to be more of a movie-ish commentary, but even then, I'm not really too sure what I'd have to say. But anyway, like with Ventus and Aqua, we only have one world to select, no Mirage Arena, so we are stuck with the Enchanted Dominion, or as I like to call it, sad people in a happy location. A beautiful forest that's lovely. Ah, nostalgia.
Monsters. The ones the Master mentioned. These are the Unversed.
Okay, mission 1 is complete. We know who the Unversed are. Well, I mean, we already know that from previous parts. We know that they come from Vanitas, but Terra doesn't know that. But yeah, this is pretty much also going to be showcasing Terra's moves. Again, he's very sluggish and tank-like, and he isn't quite my favorite to play. It's not that he doesn't have his advantages, mind you. Again, like, again, if you remember some of the finishes that you can use, and you'll be seeing what I renamed them in due time. Well, okay, something like that, but... Yeah, he is pretty powerful, and again, when you can get enemies in a bit of a lock, it can be quite fun, but at the same time, his movement speed is also a little bit of a thing to watch out for, so... when it comes to early game D-Links, I highly recommend utilizing Ventus' D-Link, actually, because again, it makes Terra's movement a lot faster. And, yeah, get to utilize some pretty cool stuff. Although I'm pretty much just showcasing Aqua's D-Link because it's been a while since we last saw it, and get used to seeing D-Links into this level and pretty much one other, because that's gonna be one of the last times we actually use D-Links. I mean, at this stage I pretty much showcased them all, and Sonic Shadow, this is Terra's, his shotlock. Man, it has been a while. Yeah, it seems that he's already channeling the darkness. Master Xehanort had wanted, boy. But anyway, as I was saying, yeah, we have one other D-Link that we're actually going to be getting in this level, and that's pretty much the end of it. Oh god, yeah, man, it feels really arthritic to have ourselves scale back to pretty much level 1 with all the, you know, grinding and everything that we've been doing since, you know, Aqua's story. I mean, I don't know, I mean, it's kind of the risk you run when you're playing Birth by Sleep, but I mean, it's, as you can tell by the fact that I'm also running a bit low on things to say, it's, tiring. I'm tired, Terra. So very tired. But anyway, let's run around and explore, because, Terra obviously sees, ooh, pretty things, and not the unversed that I'm here to destroy. Almost as if he needed guidance from a Keyblade Meister. Would have been a nice way for Aqua to cut her teeth. Navigating Terra around, give Terra a more natural means to distrust her. Let the Keyblade Mastery go to her head. But again, I've already talked about in the previous parts, at least in regards to Aqua's mastery and character arcs going buggery. Whatever, this is pretty much going to be the Terra and Xehanort story from now on, so nothing more to say here. And we don't get the sad people in a happy location music. A blue. Anyway, we have the sticker album thing that also allows us to get abilities, as I mentioned previously. And Terra's little sticker thing is Rumble Racing, where we just put balloons around all over the shop, and that's pretty much that. What do we get? Okay, not bad. Not quite as cool as I would have liked, but you do get Rhythm Mixer, which I tried to show off, but I didn't quite get it to work in the end, so yeah, apologies. If you want to see what a Rhythm Mixer is like, play the game for yourself. Although, whether or not you will enjoy it will be, I don't know, entirely up to you, but in any case, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and as we slay this last unversed, I'll see you next time for more Birth by Sleep action and Terra's story. Catch you next time.